Welcome to The Warp. I'm Jack Rita, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Cosmic Odyssey campaign. I've recently completed my fourth campaign since Odyssey has come out, and I'm really enjoying how it turned out. The campaign was basically 1/3 of the Odyssey expansion, and it is the one section that Frank Brooks from Fantasy Flight had the most input on. He really took all the stuff that I submitted in there, which was perfectly adequate for a campaign, and he dialed it up to 11. So I really like all of the stuff that he contributed to boosting the campaign and making it more of a focal centerpiece to the expansion. But as Tom Vasel says, even if you never do the campaign, the expansion has so much stuff in it, and there's plenty for everyone in there. But I enjoy the campaign. I like the aspects of having the different variants and alien selection methods dictated to you through the age cards. And I have found that the different scoring methods in each age really have an interesting effect on the gameplay. It makes you make different decisions than you typically make, and changing up what people typically do in a typical game of Cosmic Encounter is something that interests me a lot as a designer and as a player as well. And Frank also really developed the MasterCard and Wrench card system. I had a thing that I submitted as part of the design that involved a reward system depending on how things were. There was this notion of you had a leader and a straggler that was inspired by some elements from Cosmic Encounter Duel, but it didn't have card prizes because, frankly, I was concerned that they were not going to include more cards in there. So, much to my delight and surprise, all of the Master cards and the Wrench cards, little mini cards added to the game, I think they do add some value and some interest on there. And it's captured my imagination. So these cards here are actually custom cards that I've had made, and I've really gone a little hog wild with developing additional custom content for the campaign. So I thought I'd take everyone on a little tour of some of the stuff in it. Some things I've shown in some other videos, but I'll go into a little more detail here. So I'm going to start with the age cards. I've got quite a few additional age cards that I've introduced to the game, and that's just because there's a lot more variants out there that I wanted to include in Cosmic Odyssey, but the amount of material that is out there, if you peruse the Warp, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's more than would ever fit in one box, and even 7 expansions later, there's still a lot of content in there. So one of the age cards that I created that I wanted to have as part of this is what I call the Primitive Age of Luddites. And the way this one works is that it's really designed to be a good candidate for your first game in a campaign because it strips things down and lets you ramp up a little bit more organically. So it's got a very simple alien selection method. It's just a classic deal 2, choose one. That is part of your normal setup. The variant that in there is no flares. So you're starting with actually less than you might in a typical game. There's no other additional variants. You're just, you're not having the flares, which is a little more in line with the 42nd anniversary edition of Cosmic Encounter, which now includes flares as a variant. For me, in a standard game, I always include flares. When I'm teaching people, I include flares. I'm like, you know what, suck it up and learn how to play this because the flares add so much to the game. But in terms of a campaign, I think it makes sense to start with something relatively simple and move up along the complexity of all the different variants that can be in there. The next one I have here is the Cultivated Age of Control. So this one adds in one of the new alien selection methods, and I'm going to cover all those in a different video, but there are a lot more alien selection methods, some of which have come out subsequent to the release of Cosmic Odyssey, a lot of the other Cosmic fans and players out there have been introducing their own variants and alien selection methods, and I think they're great. So I've included that one. And the variant in there is hand draft. So the idea with that is you're dealing out the cards to the players, but you're drafting what your hand is going to be. So you've got your 8 cards. You're going to choose one to keep, and then you're going to pass the next, or what you have left over, clockwise to the player on your left. And then you'll draft again. And so you're getting a look at what is going to be out there. You're choosing what you think will be the optimal hand for you and your alien. But you're not going to get everything that you want. And you really have to take into account what other people know and what other people can do. So it's a really interesting variant. It doesn't require an additional components, so it's easy to add in, and I think it's a lot of fun. I've got the Precarious Age of Rivals. So this one has Spectrum as the alien selection method, and the variant is blind objective. So the objective cards come in the campaign, and originally they were submitted as a part of Cosmic Odyssey that you could use in 4 different ways. So I thought the objective cards had a lot of potential. So one of the methods was you could have a number of objectives face up that any player can go after. So you see the objectives out there, and it's other ways that you can score points, and you know about that. One was you'd have a number of them dealt out face down, so you didn't know what they were going to be. And at the end of the game, you'd reveal them, and you would see if anyone had achieved those objectives. And so that I thought was another interesting, and that is what blind objectives does. You don't know what those objectives are going to be. And the other 2 methods one was you would deal 1 out to each player, and it could be face up, so that you knew that player is going to be able to score X number of points if they achieve that objective. And then the last one was, of course, you deal 1 out to each player, and they keep it secret. So at the end of the game, they would reveal, aha, I'm going to score another 8 points because I've done this, or I've managed to do that, changing up the way that you normally play the game. So, and I'll certainly include some of those and future age cards that I make. I've got the Obvious Age of Visions here. And the alien selection method is a combo card. So the combo cards that come in the 42nd anniversary edition are 5-player combo cards. We put out a series of 8-player combo cards as part of the Escape Velocity promos, and those are still available as I go to other conventions. I normally bring the combo cards out and give those out to players or find ways for them to earn them. And we offer them up as prizes for any future Pastimes events that we do. So with the 8-player combo cards, you can use those for whatever. I thought that would be an interesting way to do that. And then the variant is the Alliance Styles. So Alliance Styles were part of Cosmic Eons. They were the extra variant in there. We didn't have any reference to Alliance Styles in Cosmic Odyssey because everything in the box for Cosmic Odyssey had to be playable with only the base game and whatever comes in Odyssey. So we didn't want to have a reference to something for a variant that you wouldn't be able to immediately play if you didn't already have it. So that's why there's no reference to that in any of the official Odyssey elements. But obviously I have Cosmic Eons, I've got the Alliance Styles, so naturally I wanted to have an age card that could refer to that as well. All right, I've got the Explosive Age of Chaos there with the mouth up in the art. And this one is Delegation is the alien selection method, and the variant is Ultra Rewards and Space Station. So just a fun combination of 2 elements that are part of Cosmic Odyssey. Normally they're on separate age cards, but I thought, well, it'll be fun to combine those because I like both of them quite a bit. I've got the Random Age of Options. That one has Eeny Meeny as a new alien selection method, and the options are Lux and Power-Ups. I'm not going to go into Power-Ups because it's not really my idea to talk about, but once it does become street shared by the actual designer of that. I'll go into more detail, but it's a fantastic idea. I think everyone will love it once they do finally ever learn about it. And I had to have an age card that would refer to it. The Ludicrous Age of Extremes. Now, the alien selection method for this is 5x5. 5x5 is where every player makes a list of 5 aliens that they want and 5 aliens that nobody can have. And you reveal all of your lists simultaneously, and any alien that was on your want list that was not on someone else's want list or on someone else's veto list, you get to have as part of your coalition. And for the campaign, there's some discussion and debate about whether or not you get to use that many aliens in that game. Right now, I'm doing it. It's just a way to add more aliens to your campaign, and you have to choose one of the aliens that you get. Or if you end up having all 5 of your aliens vetoed, you're using something else from the coalition you already have, or you get a random alien, and that's what you get. But normally in a 5x5, if you end up getting more than one of your aliens that doesn't get vetoed, that's how many aliens you have for that game. So you could have 5 aliens, and someone else could have only 1. For the campaign, I think that certainly Fantasy Flight would never go for it. It would be untenable. It would be, even though fair is not fun, it would be into the realm of not fun and not fair. So that's why I'm currently going with this idea that you're going to be able to add a bunch of aliens to your coalition. But it may involve a double alien, so you get to use 2 aliens in there. I'll still play around with it, and I may update the card to do that. The variant is reward deck and ultra rewards, just because I think that the reward deck is, for most players, the #1 variant. So finding more ways to make sure that it is part of some or all of your games in a campaign, I think, is a good idea. We have the Intrepid Age of Adventures. And the way this one works is it uses democracy, which is one of the newer alien selection methods, but the variant is inverted decks. And so for that, you are going to have the reward deck, but the reward deck becomes the cosmic deck, and the cosmic deck becomes the reward deck. So your initial 8-card hands are dealt out from the reward deck, and it's just about as crazy as you can imagine. But it's certainly going to be an adventure. So I like that one. I think that one's a fun one to get in there. All right, the Active Age of Acceleration is a fun one. The alien selection method is called All In All the Time, and it's a random alien from a list of aliens that you can use as any player. So that's part of the excitement for that one, is that you're going to make sure that you have an alien that you can use pretty much all the time. Certainly more often than main player aliens or absolutely offense-only aliens, stuff like that. The variant is called Single Encounter. So you only can have 1 encounter. If you win that encounter, that's great for you, but your turn is over. And it's another interesting thing that a lot of players have kicked around with, like, the games are over too quickly, or all of us are getting to 4 colonies too fast. What are some ways that we can deal with that? And Single Encounter has been suggested. I think it's a perfectly fine variant. It's not the default way that I would play Cosmic Encounter, but I think it makes for a fun variant to have in there. It's a good one to throw into the campaign. All right, we have the Amazing Age of Power. And this one is uses a Volt Bowl as a alien selection method. But the variant is Super Shots. And the idea with Super Shots is you have your Super Flare is face up next to your alien sheets, not part of your hand, but it's there as a reference card, and you get 3 cosmic tokens. And anytime you want to use the super effect of your flare, you just do it, and you spend 1 of the cosmic tokens. So that's what Super Shots means. It's based on a variant that was on the Warp. I believe that was Patrick Riley that included that one. And I always thought it was a neat idea. It's why when I made my custom cosmic set, I put the super effects on the alien sheets themselves so that we could do Super Shots as a variant without needing to have the flares pulled out of the deck. But I think pulling them out there as a reference, I think works. So it's not a card that anybody can have. The wild effects certainly will not be part of the game. And as a result, when you're doing super shots, you're going to deal in extra wild flares. So you'll still have the same number of flares in the deck, but there will be no super flares in the deck for that game. All right, we have the annoying age of constraints, and we're using White Elephant, which is, again, it's a fan alien selection method that I enjoyed. And the constraints, the variant there is the wind limitation, and the wind limitation has an interesting effect on the game because the number of players that can go for the win starts off very small. So it encourages solo wins early in the game, and as the game goes on, then the threshold for allowing a joint win to happen is raised. And I'll post up the rules for win limitation, but it's an interesting take on how the game works. The dueling age of duality is a funny one. So for this one, your alien selection method is you're going to get a random envoy. Then that's your aliens. So the envoys are one of the elements from Cosmic Odyssey. They're the aliens from Cosmic Encounter Duel that can be brought in as prizes depending on how well you do in a game. But here with this particular age card, you're actually going to use that envoy as your alien. It joins your coalition, and of course the variant is a random envoy. So you're going to get another envoy as well. So it's dual aliens, but they're dual envoys. So that one I think is a weird one, but I enjoy it. All right, we have the Quinary Age of Quincunx. I'm not sure on the pronunciation on that, but those are real words. And so the idea here is that the alien selection method is actually, it's called Pentaformer. And that, well, the way that works is everyone essentially is the Pentaform. So you're going to get 5 random aliens, and it's the Jack Rita version of Pentaform. So each player will make a stack of the aliens, keeping all but the top one secret. So the face-up alien is going to be based on your number of foreign colonies. You'll start with your 0 foreign colony alien. As soon as you get 1, you will move that one to the bottom of the stack, and now the number 2 alien is your alien until you get another foreign colony. And so everybody in the game has that as their alien. It's recommended that you not have Pentaform as part of your Pentaformer stack. I will let somebody else speculate what that would be like. And then the variant is just evolutions. So I like evolutions a lot. I think it's interesting. So I just have another age card that brings it into the game. We have the Treacherous Age of Subjugation. So this one is Vote Bowl again. And then the variant is Alien Influencers. And the way that works is you're going to have a set of aliens face up off to the side. And much like with evolutions or with tech, players are able to put a ship on one of those aliens, and if they ever have the most ships on an alien influencer, they've got use of that alien as an extra alien. So it's again, it's another weird variant to add to the game, but I enjoy that sort of thing. And then I made a crossed wires card. So this is just basically you're going to draw 2 ages, and you do the little matchup here, where you are saying, all right, it's going to, instead of being the Treacherous Age of Subjugation, it's the Treacherous Age of Quincunx. So you get an official card that forces you to do that. So that's it for the age cards. I've just got a bunch of these master cards because they all correspond to these different ages so that you can have an appropriate prize for whoever wins that. And then I did a bunch of wrench cards. I've talked about these as well. I just really like the idea. I didn't have any involvement in the development of the wrench cards that are actually part of the official campaign. So certainly I couldn't leave well enough alone. So I was inspired to make a bunch of mine. And so that's it. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments and what sorts of stuff you want to know more about for the custom campaign. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.